Yes, Jigisha and Pancham, what questions you have? And others who may have question, please raise your hand, Zoom hand, and I'll come one by one. Go ahead, Jigisha.
Sir, most abominable action, sir. I didn't understand what is that.
Abominable means something that normally what people may say very, very cruel or oh, so bad, like that. Abominable meaning something that most people don't like. So, like in the story of thief Ratnakara, he was a very, very cruel thief. Whoever would pass in the jungle, he would take money from them. And if at all they resist, he will hit them. If they still resist, he would not hesitate to murder them. That is how thief Ratnakara was. And one day, Narada Muni was also passing by the jungle. And as usual, thief Ratnakara wanted to stop him and take away whatever he has.
Power.
Yes, Jigisha?
Sir, he wanted to take off the power or he wanted to take off the life, sir?
He wanted to take out all the things that Narada Muni had. So he thought like anybody else, no? Narada Muni also has some things and he wanted to snatch those things away. Narada Muni said, I have nothing. I am just a sadhu and I am just going from here to the next town. And he was not at all afraid by looking at Ratnakara also. Ratnakara said, how dare you come here without anything? I have to now take things from you. If you have nothing else, I will take away your life only. But Narada Muni was not at all afraid. He was very, very peaceful. And he told Ratnakara, Ratnakara, for whose sake you think you are doing all this? Ratnakara said, I am doing this for the sake of my family. I am doing this for the sake of my friends who are also my fellow thieves. I am the one who is looking after all of them. Then Narada Muni asked him, hey, Ratnakara, now that you're doing all this, you are hurting people. And therefore, you're collecting lot of bad karma. People are afraid of you. And when somebody is hurt, they also curse you. All this bad karma you're accumulating. Whatever the people or whoever the people for whose sake you're doing, can you go and find out if any one of them will take all your bad karma? You say you are doing all this for them, they're enjoying your whatever you are stealing, through that maybe you are stealing some gold and maybe you are getting them some food and everything they're enjoying. Will they also take your sin? Will they also take your bad karma? Go and find out, he said. Ratnakara was angry at Narada, asking him all these questions. He said, I'll find out and come, but I will tie you to the tree. And until I come, you be here. And when I come, I'm going to kill you. Narada said, without any kind of worry, you go and come. I'll be here only. You don't worry. So Ratnakara went to his family. He first asked his father, he had an old father in his home. He asked him, oh father, there is this Narada who has asked me whether you will take part of whatever the bad actions I have done. Because you have been enjoying all the food and the gold and everything that I bring. Will you also take part in my bad actions and the results of my bad actions? His father said, oh, my son, I am so old. I never asked you to become a thief. It was your choice to become a thief. How can I take your bad actions and your bad results? That's why you only. Ratnakara went to his wife, asked the same question. His wife said, oh, how can I? Look, I have two little children. Who will take care of them if I take your bad actions and your bad results? That's why you only to deal with. You had taken the oath to protect the family. You have to figure out how to do it properly. I never asked you to become a thief. Listening to all this, Ratnakara's heart sank. He felt very sad. He felt so miserable. He felt, ayo, all these while I thought I was giving all these good things to my family. Come what may, they all will support me. But look, they only wanted to enjoy whatever I was giving them. But when the moment came of taking the bad results, none of them want to come. So now I have to carry all that. That realization dawned in his mind. What I sow, I have to reap. So then he came running to Narada Maharshi and fell at his feet. And with tears in his eyes, he said, "Oh Narada Maharshi, now I realize what you are trying to point at. That I have to be careful with what I do. I have done so much now. I've heard so many people now. I don't know whether I will ever be able to get any kind of good results through my actions. Is there a way out for me? How can I now help myself? How can I improve? How can I evolve? I see you're so peaceful. Can I also be peaceful like you? You have no possessions, but still see, you are full of courage and glow. Can I be like you?" Then Narada Maharshi taught him how Krishna teaches Arjuna through Bhagavad Gita. He taught him various truths. The first truth is, oh Ratnakara, you think you are a thief. You think you are this body. All that is a wrong idea. You are truly none of this. And then how you can be in life. So who you are and how to live life in a way that is useful and helpful for others. All this teaching Narada Muni gave to Ratnakara. So as Ratnakara imbibed that teaching and he started practicing, started living based on the path given by Narada Muni. And slowly through that, his mind became peaceful. And then he became totally transformed. One who wouldn't hesitate to kill others. Later, one day, he saw one hunter shoot an arrow at one bird. There were two birds sitting, and he shot an arrow at one of the bird, and that bird fell. It died. And the other bird was full of sadness and it was crying. Looking at that scene, this Ratnakara's heart, now he had become a Maharshi. Okay, so he had realized his true nature. Seeing that scene, his heart melted. He was full of tears out of the compassion for that bird. And that time, spontaneously, one shloka came out of his mouth. And that is the first shloka of Ramayana. So you see, like that, even a thief, a cruel thief, when he realized his mistakes and when he truly wanted to change himself, could evolve, could become a great Maharshi, who is the author that all of us celebrate. We no more recall him as a thief Ratnakara, but we all bow down to the great Maharshi Valmiki. So that is what Krishna is telling us. Is that bringing clarity, Jigisha?
Yes, sir.
Any other question you have?
Yes, sir. Sir, what is sin?
Sin. Sin means, okay, let us look at it this way. So let's say, for example, you have a small wound, okay? Let's say you
Yes.
cut something. Now, if let's say you take chili and rub chili on that, how does it feel? Does it feel nice?
No, sir.
It'll start burning, no?
Yes, sir.
Why did that burning happen?
Because of the spice of the chili.
Because you put the chili, right? So
Yes, sir.
if you had put a little bit of cold water, how would have felt?
It would have felt cool. Cooled.
So like that in life, no, there are some results that make us feel not very nice. For example, say when you are angry, do you like the feeling of being angry?
No, sir.
Do you like the feeling of, let's say, somebody shouts at you, somebody is scolding you? Do you like that feeling?
No, sir.
Do you like the feeling when people are fighting with each other?
No, sir.
Do you like the feeling when people are cutting the trees,
No, sir.
are hurting the animals?
No, sir.
You see, all these kinds of things can be called as sinful activities. Why? Because how they make us feel is not very nice. Your true nature is to be helpful, to be kind, to be loving. When you're loving and kind and compassionate, you feel nice, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So anything that makes you feel angry, irritated, upset, not a nice feeling, can be called as a sinful feeling. Any feeling that makes you feel complete, that makes you, oh, nice. Say, for example, when a small animal is very hungry and you offer, maybe let's say a dog, maybe let's say you offer some chapati, how do you feel within yourself?
I feel that I am.
It's a very nice feeling, isn't it?
Sir. It gives me happiness.
So that is the right kind of activity. All right. So sin is any activity that makes you feel not nice. All right.
Yes, sir.
Any other
Sir,
question?
yes, sir. Miserable. What is the meaning of miserable, sir?
Miserable means very, very sad. Miserable feeling, very, very sad feeling. Like how Ratnakara, when he realized that none of his family would take the burden of his sins or the burden of his wrong actions, he felt very, very miserable, very sad, very lonely. Are you
Yes,
clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Any other question?
Yes, sir. What is the meaning of determination, sir?
Determination. Determination means to be focused. So here, once when Ratnakara realized his wrong actions led to the feeling that he is going through, and when he realized the teachings of Narada Muni, he started reforming his own mind. He started reforming his own life with the clear determination that I will now live my life in the right way that great Narada Muni has given to me. So that focus on come what may, I will not deviate. Even if somebody may hurt me, but I will look at how to be kind and how to help the other person. Like that, he focused. And that led to his inner feeling, which later he became like the Valmiki Rishi. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
Yes, sir. Situated in determination. What does this mean, sir?
Situated in his determination means he's focused. He's completely focused. What is he focused on? He's focused on, oh, I have to realize my true nature. I have to realize what is this whole world. I have to realize the divine nature of this whole world. And I have to find God within me and God in others. With that focus, that is the teaching given by Narada Muni. That, hey Ratnakara, you are divine and everything around you is divine. You are truly light of the self and everything around you is also light of the self. So now realize that. is a teaching given by Narada Muni. So Ratnakara, he was determined to realize that truth in him. It is like, say, for example, somebody comes and tells you, Jikisha, mango is very tasty. Let's say you've never eaten a mango. Will that give complete understanding?
No, sir.
No. When will you know completely about mango?
When I eat it at least once.
Ah, excellent. Like that, here Narada Muni gave him the teaching to Ratnakara. But now it is Ratnakara who has to realize that, no, he has to see the truth in his life, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So for that, one has to be focused, one has to be determined, and that is how he led his life. So that is the example Krishna is giving. Even though one may have done a mistake, when one realizes and focuses their attention towards realizing me, that is Krishna. Krishna in themselves and Krishna in others. When they are focused like that, then they also become worthy of being honored, like in the case of Valmiki.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Jigisha. Okay, now let's go to questions from Harshit.
Sir, I'm not understanding what is the meaning of determination.
Determination means to be focused. So you're made up in your mind to get something. For example, let's say in your mind you're made up that I want a particular chocolate. Okay. Then until you get the chocolate, you'll keep asking Amma or Appa, please get me the chocolate, please get me the chocolate. No. And if they say, no, now I don't have time, you will say, when can I come back? So you'll go back at that time, you'll once again ask, or you'll keep on thinking of different ways of how can I get that chocolate? Because in your mind, you decided that that is what I want. So that decision that I want that, and that focus and that attention to get that is called determination. Come what may, I will not change.
Okay, sir. Sir, I also did not understand what is saintly.
Saintly. Saintly means divine qualities. What is divine? Being kind, being loving, compassionate, considerate of others, helping others. All these are saintly, are divine qualities.
Yes, sir.
Any other question, Arshit?
Yes, sir. I'm not. Sorry for asking again.
No problem. You can ask 100 times.
I'm not understanding what is the meaning of abominable.
Abominable. Abominable means something that you don't like at all. Say, for example, I'm just giving an example.
Okay, sir.
Somebody in front of your home, somebody comes and starts doing number one. You feel, yeah, yucky, right?
Yes, sir.
You'll tell them, stop it. Please come into my toilet and do it, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I don't know who will do that.
Okay. Now let's say, for example,
That's actually bad.
now let's say if somebody takes one big stick and starts beating one animal. Okay, let's say there is one cow. Okay, so there's one lovely story that my dear friend Manya once told. There was apparently one person, who had lovely flowers in his garden. Very lovely flowers. Everybody loved those flowers. And he would, whoever comes, he would show them those flowers. And he was so proud of his flowers. And once, there was one cow passing by. It was very hungry that day. So that cow came in and started eating the flowers. It was so hungry today. This person, he saw that, he became very angry. He took one stick and he started beating that cow. And the cow started crying in pain because that is the nature of how much he was beating. But even when the cow was crying, shouting, this person wouldn't stop. His anger was so much. My flowers, my garden, this cow is destroying. So he beat it until the cow died. So, is that a nice action?
No, sir.
It makes us feel so sad, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Such actions are abominable. You don't like that. You know, when people are hurting other animals, when people are cutting trees, when people hurt other people, see, people can
Sir,
hurt
he
other
should not
people.
have hit the cow until it died, because it was just hungry and it just thought that those flowers, no one owned it, so it just ate.
But see, in
Not
his
the
mind,
cow's fault that the
but
flowers got
but
spoiled.
at that time in his mind, he was only full of anger. So like that,
Yeah, sir.
sometimes no people out of anger, no, can do very nasty thing out of anger,
Yes.
out of ignorance. When people kill other people also out of ignorance many a times. So all these are abominable. You don't, it is not something that is natural to you. Do you like any such feeling? No.
Sir.
That is abominable. Are you clear?
Yeah, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question?
No, sir.
All right. Let's
Thanks,
go
sir,
to
for making me understand.
all right, Arshit. Let's go to Prerana now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in this they are saying that Ratnakara was a thief and after that he became Maharshi Valmiki.
Yeah.
So, if we go to the life of Ravana,
Yeah.
he was a righteous man and he was a devotee of Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
Then he committed a sin in taking away Sita.
Yeah.
After that, he was killed by Rama.
Yeah.
And did he get mukti after that?
Okay. So here let us understand what is mukti, and then you will have clarity. So first of all, before Rama waged the war on Ravana, he first sent, his emissaries to request Ravana, what you have done is wrong. Return Sita and we don't have to fight. If only Ravana had accepted, when Hanumanta went as an emissary, if he had accepted, war wouldn't have happened. Then he got another chance. His own brother Vibhishana came to Ravana and said, "Oh, my brother, please do not do this. What you're doing is wrong. Please return Sita Ma back." And Rama is very kind. He will forgive you. Let us return and let us live peacefully. But Ravana was full of pride about his own strength, full of pride about his own knowledge. Though he was a devotee of Lord Shiva, he had become very, very full of pride of his own strength. Oh, I am a great devotee. Shiva has given me these many powers. He had become possessed with the strength of his powers. So he hadn't completely let go of his own ego or pride of his own ego. He had become possessive of his powers. So that is the reason Rama had to wage the war. Not out of revenge, not out of hatred, because here is a person who is not willing to realize the truth. If such a person is allowed to continue, then others will also think that it is okay to snatch whatever they want from others and do whatever they like. So then society becomes a miserable place, isn't it? So therefore, Sri Rama had to wage the war. Then, to your next question, Prerana. Can I continue, Prerana?
Yes, Prabhuji.
To your next question, Mukti. What is Mukti? Mukti is when one becomes free from all these kinds of impressions in the mind. That, the pride of the ego, all this pride coming from the power of what they have in their mind, pride of the knowledge. Oh, I have read so much. All this pride, what it does in life, are all the worries, what it does in life, it makes one feel less. Makes one feel small. Or it makes one feel I'm better than the others. But the truth of life is you are the light of the self. And all others around you is also light of the self only. And when that is realized, that is truly mukti. So mukti doesn't mean death. Mukti doesn't mean death. It means death of the ignorance in the mind. Death of the ignorance that I am different from the rest. That I am either superior or either I'm inferior. All that ignorance has to go away. How does it go away? With the right knowledge. That is true mukti. Is that clear, Prerana?
Yes, Prabhuji, that was clear. But after Ravana was slayed, he had to leave the world, and was he freed from the worldly, from this
So
material world?
that story is not necessarily told directly in the Ramayana, but like if you now see any story like that, one is, we can go into questioning what happened to him after that and all that. Another thing to realize is what is the lesson that I can draw in my life? What is it I can draw in my life? That when I become full of pride, that becomes the onset for my downfall. So then, how to be free from all of that? Realize my true nature and realize the true nature of everyone around me. Then when I live like that, then I will be liberated in life. So to your question, did Ravana get the mukti? Later, if you look at the real story, it is said that Ravana is nothing but is born, one of the Dwarapalaka of Vishnu is born as Ravana, right?
Yeah.
So eventually gets mukti. But for you and me, what you and me need to realize is that it is not a magical phenomena. It is not like, oh, he died and he got mukti. Not like that. Only when I realize the jnana and when I live like that, then only true mukti happens. Okay, it is not about death, not about a physical death. It is about removal of the ignorance in the mind. Is that clear, Prerana?
Yes, Prabhuji, I understand.
All right. Any other question?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you.
All right. I saw earlier Namit had raised his Zoom hand. Is there still any question for Namit?
I could not hear you properly. So, what is saintly?
Saintly means divine qualities. So, such as kindness, love, compassion, all these are saintly, are divine qualities.
Okay, sir.
Any other question?
No, sir.
All right. Then let me hear some of you about your understanding from this shloka and this discussion. Who would like to share your understanding first? Yes, Jigisha, please go ahead.
Sir, I understood that if we focus on what we are and what we can do, we can achieve our goal or achieve something in our life. And we should focus on what we are doing so that we can understand it perfectly or correctly.
Very nice. Correct. So
Sir,
this shloka helps us about focus and determination. Very good. What else?
Sir, Pancham wanted to say.
Yes, Pancham.
Sir, I understood that we should really realize the mistake and correct the mistake, that we can find a good way.
Very nice.
learned that we should be peaceful and devotional.
Excellent, excellent, very nice, very well put. See, one more thing I would like to add. There are two words that we do not use as often as we should. One is sorry. If I have made a mistake, I should, with all humility, I should accept that I have made a mistake and say, I'm really sorry that I made this mistake and I will correct. So we should learn to say sorry. And the second thing, when somebody does something good, learn to say thank you very much. When we learn to do these two things, okay, with complete honesty, then what Krishna is saying becomes true in our life. Very well put, Jigisha and Pancham. Thank you very much. Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's listen to.
Sir, can I say?
Yes, Rohan, go ahead.
Sir, I understood that if we have done a mistake, we should also realize it.
Very nice. I have to listen to others and realize and see how to correct. Very nice. Anything else, Rohan?
Yes, sir.
Anything
No,
else?
sir. That's
Very
it.
nice. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you. Okay, let's listen to now Prerana.
Yes, Prabhuji. What I understood is whatever mistake we have committed, knowingly or unknowingly, we should realize the mistake, and after it we should try to correct it. Then whatever big sin we may be committed, we will liberate, and that's when we get the real mukti.
Very nice. Very nice. No point in brooding over the mistake. Look at, okay, how can I correct it? If Ratnakar had kept on cribbing, kept on crying, ayyo, I have done a mistake, I've done a mistake, he wouldn't have evolved to be Valmiki. Look ahead. Very nice, parent. Wonderful.
I understand.
Okay, let's listen to Manya's understanding.
So making mistakes is human tendency, but to be able to correct it makes a person a good human being. So can I narrate a story here, Vijayji?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
So this is a mythological story. It's about a person called as Ajmer. So though Ajmer was born in a very pious family where both his parents were always, into the devotion of Lord Krishna, and whatever they did it as an offering to Lord Krishna. He was not so attached to God, and he didn't believe in all of these good things. He just thought that it's a very short life and let me enjoy it. Though he was not able to really show it out, because his parents were quite strict and they always used to refrain him from doing all those. But once when his father sent him to the forest to get some flowers for the puja, then there he met a beautiful woman, and then he got her home. But then his father saw inside the woman's eyes the wickedness that was filled inside her. And then when he tried to talk to his son about how bad the woman was and how her ill behavior could spoil him even more, he didn't listen. But rather than leaving the girl, he actually kicked out both his parents. Later on, they started living a very a very bad life, and they committed all kinds of sins, and he got into very bad habits like gambling. And he was now a very bad person, because now there was nobody to tell him that this was wrong and come back to the good path. Now he was like a loser, now he was like a mad horse left on loose without any rope tied. So he was just running everywhere. Now what happens is, after his wife passes away, and then there's his youngest son, and he names him as Narayan, and he's very fond of Narayan. So once when Ajmer reaches the time when he has to die, and when he has to go to the, like, he has to leave this earth. That's when Yamaraj's people come and tell him, so please come, and it's time for you to come from this materialistic body. So he just screams for his son, because he's given his son so much love. So he had that belief, he had so much hope and trust inside his son, that his son will definitely do everything, whatever needed, he would do that, and he would save him from death. So he started shouting, Narayana, Narayana, with so much love, and with so much of trust. He called for his son, that Lord Narayana himself was moved, because he thought that Ajmal was calling him. And then he made the Yamaraj people to go back, and he left Ajmal to live for another year. He extended his life period for another year. So God is so, he's so big-hearted that no matter how many sins you commit, once you call his name, and once you kind of sacrifice yourself, or you become his student and leave all your actions to him, and you say, the way you guide me, I'm going to do the same thing, then he forgives and forgets all the sins, and then he allows you to lead a happy life the way you want to, a pious life, and he forgives all of them and erases all your sins.
Very nice. Wonderful. Very nice. But the most important part of what you said is, it has to be a full, from the heart. It is not by just a mere words. When one feels completely that, I have to transform, like in the case of Ratnakara, then only that transformation opens. Very well said. Wonderful story, Manya. Thank you.
Like, even in the Bhagavad Gita, first Krishna is just guiding Arjuna, like, you need to do this and you need to do this, this is wrong and this is right. But when Arjuna, he gives everything to Lord Krishna and says, I'm your student, and he says, Shishyaste mam shahi mam tvam prapannam, that's when Lord Krishna really gets into the details and explains him, and really moves Arjuna into the right path.
Very nice. True. Wonderful, Manya. Thank you. Yes, Namit, go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to share my understanding.
Go ahead.
Sir, so most of them told that we should not see about the past, what happened. We should just see how to correct. We should not like how you told if Ratnakara had been crying have committed so many sins. Now how can I recover from that and all? And the same way, like you had given Amrutavalli Amma, her eyes was blind, and there was no point if she was thinking like, oh, I was blind when I was using this solar light, and today she could not open such a school like Aadhar. So I understand that there's no point in thinking about the past, worrying about the past. We should see how we can correct it, and we should focus on correcting that. And one more thing is that if we do any bad action also, we should correct it. We should not like think now I have done bad actions, never ever I'll correct it. Few people tell like God, it's because of God, like this and all our sins and all happen. So we should not think like that. It's like what we have done in our past life, it's coming back to us. So we should not worry about the past. We should see how to improve it. Like, not think like God has given this to me, so I can't never recover from this. If we think like that, today Valmiki could not write the first ever poetry like Ramayana and special children. So we should not think about what happened in the past. That's what I understand.
Very nice. Very well put, Namit. Excellent. Excellent. And that power is in each one. Each one is equally divine. Each one has that power. In your own way, you need to bring it out. In your own talent, you need to bring it out. So it's not necessary that everyone should have the same kind of ambition or same kind of situations in life. Each one's life is different, but each story is unique. And that's what makes it wonderful. Very well said, Namit. Very well said.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to also share? All right. Then let me stop the recording.